Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world, and almost nothing in his life went the way he wanted. A plague swept through his empire and killed millions. The Tiber flooded its banks and drowned the granaries of Rome. War broke out on the northern frontier and never truly stopped. His most trusted general declared himself emperor and split the East away from him. And of the 13 children born to him, he buried at least 8. Yet the private notes he wrote to himself at night, in a military tent by lamplight, notes never meant for anyone else's eyes, are among the calmest words a human being has ever put on paper. The Stoics had a name for the place those words came from: the inner citadel, a fortress inside the mind that no plague, no betrayal, and no disaster can enter without your permission. In this video, we're going to explore the 5 walls of that fortress and how Marcus Aurelius built each one while his world was burning. Because this is the part most people miss. Marcus did not write philosophy from a quiet villa with servants and silence. He wrote it under siege, from grief, from war, from a body that was failing him for most of his reign. The calm you find in the Meditations was not a temperament he was born with. It was a structure he built, wall by wall, practice by practice, and rebuilt every single morning. He built it in the worst conditions a life can offer, holding the most exposed position in the world. Because when you rule everything, everything is your problem, and everyone watches how you carry it. If the citadel held for him, there, it can hold for you, here. Which means it is not a gift some people are born with. It is a structure, and structures can be copied. Here is how he built it. 1. The first wall. Events cannot enter. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Things have no hold on the soul. They stand there unmoving, outside it. Disturbance comes only from within." This is the foundation stone of the citadel, and it sounds almost too simple to be true. Someone insults you, a plan collapses, a message arrives with bad news. It feels as if the event itself walks straight into your mind and wrecks it. But Marcus saw the sequence differently. The event stops at the wall. What enters is your judgment about the event, the silent sentence you add to it. This is a disaster. This should not be happening. This ruins everything. The pain you feel is rarely the raw event. It is the sentence, and the sentence is yours. This is not a trick of positive thinking. Marcus is not asking you to call the plague good news. He is pointing at something structural. Between the world and your mind stands a gate, and nothing passes through it without being handed a meaning, by you. Most people hand out meanings automatically, in the dark, and then suffer from their own verdicts as if they were facts of nature. Imagine 2 commanders receiving the same report of a lost battle. One is shattered, pacing his tent all night. The other reads it, nods, and begins planning the retreat. Same event, same words on the page. 2 entirely different nights, because the event carried no verdict of its own. Each man wrote his own. Marcus put it even more sharply. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. So when something strikes you today, pause at the wall and ask, what actually happened, and what sentence did I add to it? 2. The second wall. Rehearse the siege before it comes. In the Meditations, Marcus reminds himself, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. At first, this sounds like the bleakest way imaginable to start a day. It is the opposite. It is armor. The Stoics called this practice the premeditation of adversity. You walk through the day's difficulties in your mind before the day begins, so that nothing arrives as an ambush. Most of our anger is not really a response to what people do. It is a response to being surprised by what people do. We are not enraged that traffic exists. We are enraged that it exists today, when we secretly expected the road to be clear. The expectation is the vulnerability. Marcus removed it at dawn, deliberately, the way a commander walks the walls before the enemy appears on the horizon. And notice how the passage ends. After listing every difficult person he will meet, Marcus reminds himself of 2 things. None of them can implicate him in ugliness, and he was made to work with them, not against them. The rehearsal ends in acceptance, not contempt. Picture someone walking into a difficult meeting, having already accepted, calmly and in advance, that they may be interrupted, doubted, and criticized. When it happens, nothing in them lurches. They have already been here. They can respond instead of react. The rehearsal did not make them cynical. It made them unshakable. Try it tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone. Name the 3 hardest things the day is likely to bring, and greet each one before it arrives. The wall holds because it was built before the attack. 3. The third wall. Shrink the battle to the present. Marcus writes, "Don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Don't try to picture everything bad that could possibly happen. Stick with the situation at hand." No one collapses under the weight of a single moment. We collapse under imagined years. The whole war, the whole illness, the whole uncertain future, lifted all at once. Marcus knew this temptation better than anyone. From his tent on the Danube, he could have contemplated an empire's worth of problems. The plague in the cities, the tribes across the river, the treasury running dry, the succession, his own failing health. Stacked together, it was unbearable. So he refused to stack it. He cut life down to the only piece of it that was ever actually in front of him. This hour, this task, this decision. Think of someone facing months of difficulty ahead. A long recovery, a long project, a long fight. The moment they look at all of it at once, their chest tightens and their strength drains. The moment they ask only, "What does this day require of me?" the same life becomes carryable. The future is a landscape you can see but never stand in. You live in a single step. And here is the quiet arithmetic behind the practice. You have never been asked to endure your whole life at once. You have only ever been asked to endure a moment. And you have endured every single one so far. The record is perfect. The dread comes exclusively from the moments that do not yet exist. When the weight returns tonight, ask yourself Marcus's question. Is this thing unbearable? Or am I trying to carry next year today? 4. The fourth wall. The retreat no one can take from you. Marcus Aurelius teaches us, people try to get away from it all, to the country, to the beach, to the mountains. You always wish that you could too, which is idiotic. You can get away from it anytime you like, by going within. The Emperor of Rome could have escaped to any villa on any coast of the known world. He is telling himself, there is nothing there. Every external retreat has borders, costs, and an end date, and you smuggle your restless mind into all of them. The only retreat that is always open, always free, and always yours is the descent into your own mind. A few breaths, a few remembered principles, a moment of stepping back from the noise to the quiet room behind it. Marcus kept a handful of short principles ready for exactly these moments, brief enough to recall under pressure, deep enough to rinse the mind clean the moment he touched them. That is what the meditations actually are. Not a book, but the furniture of his inner room, arranged where he could reach it blind. This was not poetry for Marcus. It was field practice. Between dispatches and casualty lists, he withdrew, sometimes for no longer than it takes a guard to change, and returned to the situation restored. Consider someone in the middle of an ordinary, overwhelming day. They cannot leave the office, the hospital ward, the house full of children. But they can stop for 60 seconds, close their eyes, and stand inside the one space no one else can enter or disturb. When they open their eyes, nothing outside has changed, and everything inside has settled. You carry the Citadel with you. Most people simply never go inside. 5. The fifth wall. Turn the siege into training. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is the strangest wall of the Citadel, because it is not defensive at all. The first 4 walls protect you from events. The 5th one uses them. Marcus looked at every obstacle and asked a single, quiet question. What does this make possible? A betrayal makes patience possible. A loss makes courage possible. A delay makes discipline possible. The fire that should have burned the fortress down becomes the forge inside it. When his general Avidius Cassius proclaimed himself emperor, Marcus's response stunned Rome. When Cassius was killed by his own officers, Marcus grieved, because it robbed him of the chance to pardon him. The worst betrayal of his reign became his greatest exercise in mercy. He did not merely endure the obstacle, he fed on it. Think of someone whose carefully built plan has just collapsed. They can spend the year mourning the plan, or they can ask what this specific wreckage now makes possible. And often it is something the plan itself was quietly preventing. Nothing that happens to you is only an attack. Everything that happens to you is also material. This is why the Stoics could say, without irony, that the good man is harder to find in easy times. Comfort builds nothing. Every wall in the Citadel was raised by weather the builder never asked for. The Citadel does not just survive the siege, it is built out of it. And this, in the end, is what the inner Citadel really is. Not a hiding place, not numbness, not pretending the plague, the flood, and the betrayal are not real. Marcus felt all of it. The meditations are full of grief, weariness, and doubt. The Citadel is what he did with what he felt. He judged the event instead of swallowing its verdict. He rehearsed the blow before it landed, shrank the war to the present hour, withdrew to the one room no one could enter, and turned every attack into building material. 5 walls, raised one morning at a time by a tired man in a tent who never expected anyone to read a word of it. That is perhaps the most convincing thing about the Meditations. They were not written to persuade you. They were written to hold one struggling human being upright, and they worked. In our final quote from Marcus Aurelius for this video, he leaves us the image that holds all 5 walls together. Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. The waves are not asked for permission, they come. But the rock decides what breaks, and it is never the rock. If this video gave you something to carry with you, subscribe to Above Average, where we explore the psychology and philosophy of the thinkers who saw what most never do. Thanks for watching.